So after a couple week hiatus of working on some other projects, I'm going to come back to this 317 in hopes of, I'd really like to get it out of the shop and move on to other projects. I can't remember exactly where I left off, but I got all the wiring redone, so that is all covered. Not concerned about the wiring in any way, shape, or form. I got everything put back together. So the solenoid is now mounted inside right here. The breaker is mounted and everything else, so we don't have to worry about that. The only thing I do remember is the previous owner did tell me that evidently one of the ends likes to come off the breaker, so I just squeeze that with a pair of pliers to make it a little bit tighter fit. And obviously if I come out here one day and it doesn't work, then that's my own fault for burying it back underneath everything rather than leaving it on the outside, if you've watched the previous videos. So what we're going to do is, right now, I'm going to go ahead and change the hydraulic fluid. On a 317, that's a little bit more challenging than, say, a 318, mostly because there's no, per se, drain plug. Basically, all you need low viscosity Hygard or whatever hydraulic fluid you choose. I've done videos on hydraulic fluids before. And then you need an oil filter AM39653. In the process of looking up oil filters, and this is just a word to the wise, price oil filters out at your Deere dealer. Don't necessarily think that Deere is going to be super expensive, because right now I can go to the Deere dealer and get these for several dollars cheaper than I can order them online. Even if you have them shipped to you, typically you can get them a little cheaper at the Deere dealer than you can online. So I'm going to get underneath the tractor. Actually, we'll go through the book real quick. See if I can turn it with one hand. Can't remember exactly where it's at. I looked it up earlier. So changing transmission fluid and filter. Sorry, I got a phone call. So changing the transmission fluid and filter recommends, and this is an original service manual or operator's manual, change filter every 100 hours of operation. It's not necessary to drain the transmission. But we're going to change the fluid. Changing fluid every 2 years or 500 hours. Park tractor on a slight downward incline, which it is already on. Remove the transmission to axle cooling tube and drain fluid into container. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to loosen up the basically this hose, the metal hose under there, which you can see the top of right here with the fender pan and the fender pan and the gas tank removed. I'm going to go ahead and remove that hose. It is a metal hose. I can't remember what size wrench it takes. And I'm going to let all the fluid drain out. And then I'm going to, after I do that, then I'm going to remove the filter, put a new filter on, and then I'm going to fill it with low viscosity Hygard back here. I'm going to try to set the camera up underneath the machine, so that way you can watch me take the lines off and get it draining and everything, and then we'll go ahead and fill it up. Obviously, without an engine in it, I can't test anything, so we're just going to have to trust that I get it to the right fluid level, and then when I put the engine back in, we'll have to check it again and go from there. All right, so what I've determined is that you need a 1-inch wrench to access these lines right here. And right after you have had your eyeballs pop out of your head, you will loosen them up. So it said to loosen both of them. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. Hopefully you have enough light to see everything. I've always thought this was like the worst way to change fluid. It's like, could Deere have not have put a, I think it's kind of silly that they didn't put a drain in there. certainly I would have attempted to put a drain in there. I'm not gonna, if I can avoid it, I'm not going to loosen the top one all the way, or I'm not going to take it off. I'm only going to take off the bottom one here. But by loosening the top one, I'm not having to bend the tube. I can just kind of rotate it around a little bit. So see how it's kind of rotating around? And so now we can just kind of pull it off of there. And I'm not bending the tube like you would normally have by loosening this top one up. I mean, obviously I could clearly, you know, take this off, but then the couple times that I've ever done that on the 317, I've always found it very hard to get everything lined back up and whatnot. So I just choose to do it this way. I don't necessarily think it's a right way or a wrong way to do it. That's just how I do it. So what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try being the key word, to rotate my pan around here a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and attempt to take the filter off so I can have everything draining and give the entire system a little bit more breathing room. I also dented the filter somehow. I think I've already mentioned it. I think I dented it moving the machine or something. I moved the whole machine somehow. Well, I did it with the forks, but I can't remember how I did it. So, all right. So I got the filter. Looks like the filter's been replaced reasonably recent, because it's an AM39653. You know, so it's been replaced before. It's not like it's been on there since the 70s like some that I see, or the 80s, whichever choice you want. What I am going to do, and I don't know if you can see it, is I'm going to go ahead and wipe around the outside of the filter mount on the transmission. That's something that's hard to clean when you're just pressure washing stuff. So I'm just going to wipe it out and just make sure I get all of the dirt and the debris from around there. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to let this sit here and drain for probably 15-20 minutes, and then we'll put everything back together, get the new filter on. I'll probably put the new filter on here pretty soon. I'll just do that off camera, and then we can start filling it up. All right, so I've got my easy chair, or otherwise known as a shop stool. I've got my bucket of Hygard, and then I have my hand pump. So, as I've told several people, or as I've said in several videos, I buy all my Hygard and everything in a bucket, 5-gallon bucket, with like engine oil and stuff. If you had a gallon jug, it would work just the same. So what we're going to do is sit here for the next, I don't know, probably 2 days and slowly fill up this differential and transaxle. You got a really, really small hole that you have to get all this fluid in. It has to breathe. You don't want it running out and running everywhere. So it just takes time. Because you know, you either got to find a really, really small, flexible funnel, or you've got to do what I'm doing, which, I mean, you can see how much I'm adding at one time. And basically, I'm trying to make sure that it does have a chance to breathe. And by having a chance to breathe, I'm not losing fluid everywhere. It's not bubbling up or anything like that. It's all going down into the fill tube. So I'm going to sit here for the next, and I don't think I need to keep the camera running the whole time. I'm going to sit here. It will legitimately probably take me upwards of 15 minutes to do this, if not more. So I'm just going to sit here and fill it up. I wasn't done. I wanted to replace our sight tube right here. So there's a bar that holds the sight tube in. I'm going to take that bar off, hopefully. I hope I realized this before I got too much fluid in it, which is a good deal. So there's the bar. Probably should clean it up since it doesn't look like it really got cleaned up all that well when I cleaned the machine. Now I can take and pull my line off. I'm just going to take my wide pair of long reach needle noses, reach down in here, and pull it off. At the same time, realize I need a grip pan for all of this. For when I take this off. There is a filter on this line. I think I'm going to leave the filter on there if I can. I'm not sure the purpose of it, but we're just going to leave it on there. Alright, so there's our line. Doesn't have anything in it, thankfully. See if we can get it off the filter just as easy. We can. Fantastic. Now we can take our two clamps off. This is when I shoot them across the garage. I'm going to leave that right there. Clean up my hands a little bit. That way I'm not getting grease and grime everywhere. Clean this up. This has been replaced in the past because it's extremely flexible. While yes, it is in a very, it's in a formed shape. If this was original from the 70s or 80s, you know, so I think we decided this one was 81. If this was original, it would have cracked by now. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take our, and I just keep lots of this stuff on hand. Leave this as, yep. So we're going to take our 3/8 OD tube, 1/4 inch ID. And we're just going to create a new piece. Just like that. Okay, now. We're going to take and put this to the side. I want to go ahead and clean up the clamps here a little bit. Hopefully I didn't splash the camera too bad. Now we can put our clamps on. And let's see if we can put these on there. just cold enough. Nope, they're going on. I was going to say, it could be that it's just cold enough that I'm going to need a heat gun to warm these things up. It's in the mid 50s here today, so warm enough that I can open the shop, but still cool enough that still kind of cold, which I'm not complaining because I'm not ready for mowing season yet at all. All right, so now that one's on the bottom. Now we're gonna put this one up here on the top. Try not to rip my gloves. Okay, put that back on there like so. And now I'm going to clean up my bracket here. Not perfect, doesn't need to be perfect. You know, cleaning machines is one of those things that no matter how much you clean them, they never get clean. I mean, I did a video of me cleaning this thing, and I mean, I bet you I worked at it for the better part of, you know, hour with the pressure washer. Still dirty. Not that anybody really wants to watch me clean stuff like this, but it's the video you get. All right, so now we can take and turn around, put our bolt back through there. We can take our something along those lines. We can take our bracket and bolt it on. Like so. And then tighten it up. Just like that. Nice new line. Now we can go back to refilling the transaxle. So, now that we're done with that excitement. So, I'm going to go back to doing that. I'll come back and I'll show you when it's full. Alright, so everything's all buttoned up. Got a little bit of spillage right there. Got that tightened back down. And here is our line, our level right here. It should be mid level right here, but because the engine is not installed this machine and there is no oil in the filter, I went ahead and basically added, basically about a ½ inch in there. I'm just taking an educated guess there. It might not even be educated. I'm taking a guess at where the level needs to be. When I start it up, I could be over full and I could be under full. So we'll have to see once I get the engine back in it and get it started up. But I know I needed a little bit extra because the filter doesn't have anything in there. So I'm going to work now on doing a couple other things. I need to replace the fuel line, and then I need to start working on the engine, get the engine all cleaned up so I can get it back in the machine so I can test drive it, etc. with the new transmission fluid, etc. So off I go to do that. That'll be in the next part of the video. Thanks for watching.